God damn it, J. Cole. You know I don't do videos on Tuesdays anymore. Okay, J. Cole just dropped a new track titled Snow on the Bluff. Came totally out of nowhere. No one's expecting it. It's here now. It came out on June 16th, which is today. And it dropped about an hour or so ago, and pretty much since it dropped, I've been listening to it on repeat, because if J. Cole's going to come out of nowhere and talk about what he's talking about on this track, you have to listen. Like, you don't have a choice. So, I mean, on this track, he's pretty much like touching on some of the stuff that's happening just kind of in the world right now. Mostly touching on all the protests and the killings by the police. So, shit, let's just get into it. He starts off with, "They be thinking I'm deep, intelligent, fooled by my college degree. My IQ is average. There's a young lady out there, she way smarter than me." Cole understands that he doesn't know everything. No one knows everything. Not everyone's super smart. I scrolled through her timeline in these wild times and I started to read. She mad at these crackers, she mad at these capitalists, she mad at these murder police. She mad at my N-words. She mad at our ignorance. She wear her heart on her sleeve. She mad at the celebrities low-key. I think she talking about me. Now, if you've been on social media at all in the last 3 weeks, month, just about, you've seen a lot of people posting about Black Lives Matter and talking out against a lot of quote-unquote normal things that people have just kind of become accustomed to. So, mad at white people being, and white crackers in the sense that they're racist. Okay, so not just white people in general. I think he's specifically talking about racists. The capitalists, I mean, capitalists have always kind of fucked people over. That's straightforward. The murder police. I think that's just a bit redundant. You could have just said police. And then she's mad at just the regular people, essentially, because they're ignorant, I guess, and that's not necessarily their fault. And then she's mad at the celebrities because either they're doing too much and they're trying to take advantage of what's happening, or because they're not saying anything. If you've watched the Dave Chappelle special, you understand that celebrities don't really have to say anything. They, like he even said, he's like, I'm gonna let the people out there say what they're saying because they can say it better than I can. Like, we only look to celebrities to say these sorts of things because we're like, oh, we trust them. Stuff like that. He goes on, and when he mentions that she might be talking about him, that's because a lot of people, pretty much right when all this stuff started popping off and the protests were happening, people looked to artists like J. Cole and Kendrick, like, yo, where they at? What they doing? And like, they were kind of upset that they weren't saying anything like right away. Clearly that's not the case because we've seen both of them out in protests. Also, who cares if they're out of protest or not? Like, yes, they're going there for a reason, but like, they're just people too. Like, come on now. I mean, to be fair, I did think the same thing. I'm like, oh, I wonder what they're thinking about it. But I didn't go as far as saying, yo, they should be out there. Like, I get it. He goes on here to say, now I ain't no dummy to think I'm above criticism, so when I see something that's valid, I listen. But shit, it's something about the queen tone that's bothering me. She strikes me as somebody blessed enough to grow up in a conscious environment with parents that know about the struggle for liberation, and in turn they provide it with a perspective and awareness of the system and unfairness that afflicts them, and the clearest understanding of what we gotta do to get free. And the frustration that fills her words seem to come from the fact that most people don't see. Just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. Now, when I first listened to this, I actually took away that maybe he's talking about her, who's got all this experience and is educated in what's going on, but then she's kind of like talking down on people. Rereading it again, like I just kind of realized that she's also upset at these people who don't understand these things or who think that they're higher than you. Yeah, because the frustration that fills her words comes from the fact that other people don't see. So you have people who think that they're holier than thou and they think they know everything, but instead of properly educating others, they're actively putting them down. So you have people who are going out of their way to say, oh no, screw all the white people, screw all the police, screw everything, rather than really explaining what they're thinking. And I get it, it's annoying, but I feel like we kind of need some of that energy to make some sort of change. He continues on from, just because you woke and I'm not, that shit ain't no reason to talk like you better than me. How you gonna lead when you attacking the very same N-words that really do need the shit that you saying, instead of conveying you holier, come help get us up to speed. So basically we're just reiterating what I said, like you're trying to, use your words to elevate everyone, like get everyone up to speed, because leaving them down below is gonna hurt in the long run, really. Like these people need what you're saying, but instead of telling them or educating them, you're saying you're just sending negativity their way. He goes on to say, shit, it's a reason it took like 200 years for our ancestors to get freed. These shackles be locking the mental way more than physical. Basically, like, they, as in oppressors in general, are trying to basically make sure that, like, yeah, sure, you can't get away, but we're also going to make sure that you can't think. And then he says, I look at freedom like trees. I can't grow a forest overnight. Hit the ghetto and slowly plant in your seeds. Now this one, that line kind of confused me a little bit because at first I'm like, oh, well, maybe he's just trying to like say like seeds of education and like try to like teach people. But then it's like, is starting in the ghetto like necessary? Because I imagine that a lot of people in the ghetto are already aware of these things. Unless he's talking about a different ghetto than like the general consensus. Fuck is the point of you preaching your message to those that already believe what you believe? I'm on some fuck a retweet. Most people are sheep. That could be, I could really take that either way, because one, it's, yeah, you're just kind of preaching to the choir. Like, most of the time on social media, you're going to be met with people that are in the same thought bubble as you. And that's not a bad thing. But when you continue to repost the same things that other people are posting on your own, like, more private platform, like if you have a private social media page, you're not really, like, you're spreading the word, but it's not really changing anyone's opinions because everyone in that group already has that same opinion. Like, if you want to spread it, like, don't just retweet it, actually say something about it or send it to someone that actually needs to hear something like this. Because you got all the answers, but how you going to reach that, still part of that line. If I could make one more suggestion respectfully, I would say it's more effective to treat people like children, understand the time and love and patience that's needed to grow. This change is inevitable, but ain't none of us seen this before. yeah, I mean, he's kind of like, he's saying it in a nice way that you kind of you gotta teach them in a way that they would understand. So you have all these people that are against the good, and they're kind of childish, you could say. So the only way to reach them is to speak to them as if they were a child. Therefore, we just gotta learn everything as we go. I struggle with thoughts on the daily, feel like a slave that somehow done saved enough coins to buy his way up out of slavery. That's kind of referencing himself. So a lot of artists in the music industry are essentially slaves to the label, but J. Cole's lucky enough to have Dreamville. Like, that's his own creation. Thinking just maybe in my pursuit to make life so much better for me and my babies, I done betrayed the very same people that look at me like I'm some sort of hero, some kind of hero. That kind of goes back to the original thought where he, like the woman he was talking about was talking about celebrities. So like in his career trajectory, like he started out as something smaller, and he feels like he's betrayed his fan base in the sense that he didn't say anything soon enough, or he didn't go out right away because of the zeros that's next to the commas. So yeah, because of money, he feels like he's betrayed them. But look here, I promise I'm not who you think. Ran into this N-word outside of the store yesterday. He had said something to me like, wait. He was like, Cole, appreciate what you've been doing, my N-word. That's real. But damn, why I feel faker than Snow on the Bluff? Well, maybe because deep down I know I ain't doing enough. And I think this is why he wrote the song, like this particular interaction. Because, you know, when you're online, you see all these people just saying things. So you eventually get to the point where you're like, I'm just going to ignore them. But when you see someone in person and they tell you that you're doing these amazing things, like it's, especially during these times, it's like, damn, am I really doing something good? Like, could I be doing more? Like, what can I do to do more? And that's why he says, this is why I feel faker than Snow on the Bluff. Snow on the Bluff is a film about Curtis Snow, who was a robber and crack dealer in Atlanta. Or it was a movie about him in 2011. Like, what happened in the movie is basically he stole these kids' camera and ended up making a documentary of his life. It was so convincing that the police actually thought it was real and tried to link it to other cases, but it ain't nothing real. So, fake. So he feels faker than something that was hella fake. He feels like he's not doing enough. And I get it, like, it's hard. Like, he's in a different position than me, so I can never really fully understand that. But, like, feeling like you can do something, but you're not, like, that's hard. Or, like, feeling you're not, like, I think it's more that he's not doing enough. Because he is doing, like, I'm sure he's doing stuff in the background. Like, that's just the type of person that J. Cole is. But it's interesting, because like this whole track is more like him acknowledging what's going on in the world, but then like, damn, like all these things are happening out there, but what am I doing? This track itself then kind of fades away into like a guitar melody, super somber. The outro goes, can you walk with me? I hope we'll find the reason why we often sob, go on cry, painful memories fuck up the vibe. Though I be trying to let the time heal my mind, I was once a child, I've gotten older, still, I know I'm just a boy in God's eyes. Fill me up with wisdom and some courage, plus endurance to survive. Help mine thrive. I don't really have much to say about that. The biggest takeaway is the end part. Fill me up with wisdom and some courage, plus endurance to survive. Help mine thrive. That's pretty straightforward. He wants basically the push and power, essentially, to be able to help his community thrive. Another thing to really touch on about this track, just before I wrap up, the cover art to it is just like, because it looks like he basically just wrote this out on his phone. It's just a screenshot of his phone with the lyrics. It was written on, or we can assume it was written on June 4th, so about 12 days ago. Kind of right in the middle of all the protests. I mean, they're still happening, but that was when they're still televised. I mean, it's a heavy song. Like, there's a lot happening in there. There's a lot going on in this track. And I'm sure there's going to be more to it. I don't know that this is going to be included on his album, assuming it is still coming out this year. Kind of hope it does, because if this is the sort of J. Cole that we're going to be getting, like, this is the J. Cole we need. Especially because it's like all the promotional material from last year made it seem like it was going to be a very political album too. We'll see. I'm sure there's going to be more people doing a deeper and more in-depth breakdown, because I literally just refreshed the Genius page and every line has an annotation now. Anyways, I don't really have much else to say about this track. It's important for these tracks to come out. And actually, before I forget, I was just texting my friend, and he was just, I'm gonna just say what he said, because I had sent him the song when it came out. And he said, "Man, you have to review this or talk about it, because, man, with all the shit going on right now, music hasn't been sounding the same to me. But this shit was so soothing, man. Brought me back to life." And that's kind of how I felt about this track too. Like, it's like, there's a lot of music out there, and it's so easy to just kind of forget that all this stuff is still going on in the world. And that's kind of what it feels like we're supposed to do. Like, we're just supposed to listen to music and be like, "Oh yeah, things will be fine." Like, nah. Like, this song and like the song that Lil Baby did, they're some of the most important pieces of music out right now, because they're so, well, one, they're so specific about what's happening, but also like no one else is saying these things. Like, people, I don't know. It's really, it's a necessary conversation and necessary music that's coming out. But anyways, I think I've rambled on enough. Please go listen to the track if you haven't. And let me know in the comments below, like, if I missed something or misinterpreted something, because I'm sure that happened. And yeah, like, subscribe, do all the normal YouTube things. And in the description, sign all those petitions, donate where you can. The change is inevitable. That's all I got. Thank you for watching. Stay safe out there. Bye.